Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
It's chapter 190 of Dandadan, and you know what that means. Well, it's another week of Mundadan, where we not only get a new chapter where people with round faces call each other skanks and dumbasses, but we also get the Oblivion remaster just randomly dropping an announcement right after it. I am going to explode from an overload of joy! Hey, it's me, C. If you're here for weekly Dandadan content, then you're not in the right place. Don't subscribe, don't drop a like, and let's be sure as Oblivion not to get this video to 300 likes and 10 subscribers. Ew. So this chapter is Miss Adachi heavy. In fact, it also has single-handedly confirmed that the G-Man, of all things, exists in the world of Dandadan, and it seems that he is integral to this secret and mysterious organization behind the shadows, somehow related to Count Saint Germain. Miss Adachi meets the G-Man under an underpass, where she is meeting him about the new powers that she has obtained. I love the neat little detail of the kappa. I think that's a kappa or some sort of creature on her tote bag. Seriously, I don't know what it is, but there is something about Miss Adachi that reminds me of Acrobatic Silky, in the sense that there is a feeling that I think Tatsu is trying to get us to just trust her and not see her as this bad guy. I mean, the fact that she took on a dude bro incel who was all about his stonks is like the most good guy thing a person can really do in this day and age. But we gotta talk about the G-Man's introduction, which is just, man, it is so G-Man. And it's really funny, too, because I've been recently playing through all of the Half-Life games on my server, so seeing this just gave me goosebumps. I was so hyped. I immediately DM'd my friend Adorable like, hey man, Half-Life 3 is in Dandadan! And he completely ignored it. But yeah, this chapter was pretty awesome, in due part because of this new and mysterious character who seems to be a yokai user as well. Well, he makes sure that he stays shrouded under the underpass and makes Miss Adachi talk to him through a phone at a distance. Now, this is smart, and it shows that these people are not only shady, but are also, well, smart, and keep their identities as hidden as they possibly can, which is clearly why we've never seen them until, now. Also, we learn of Miss Adachi's real name. It's not just Miss Adachi, which that would be kind of funny if it was. It's actually Miss Mika Adachi. And while it does make me think of Hatsune Miku, I'm still gonna call Mika Adachi Miss Adachi because I think it's kind of cute. But her first name's also kind of cute too. The G-Man basically tells Miss Adachi that she wasn't to steal the power of Murakami, as he was, quote, like Miss Adachi, which basically just means they were on the same team, and the G-Man, clearly being as careful as possible, immediately revokes her powers, or at least tries to. Essentially, he says to her, "You're too close to the case, Adachi. Hand over your gun and badge." And Miss Adachi says something interesting, that she says that she felt he was different, which I find interesting, because why would the G-Man not tell Miss Adachi about Murakami having powers? Feels like that could lead to a possible conflict of interest, sort of like, oh, I don't know, this moment right here? For people who are extremely careful about everything, why weren't they careful about this? Rather peculiar, no? So, a man appears in front of her that's just like the other G-Man to take her Kozuka knives and her powers away from her, explaining that in order to take power, they must get a human to yield from the bottom of their heart. However, he puts an interesting asterisk on this, saying that despite that, the human heart is stronger and more difficult to understand, impossible in some cases, and he even says more than anything in this world. So there's nothing comparable to a human heart, basically. And we see Momo Ayase as he says, "A person with a marvelous power that would have an id cosmos, which does not fear even death." This was really interesting. So it seems that based on context and glorious subcontext, we can infer possibly, or even straight up confirm, that the G-Man probably just is not human and comes from somewhere else in the universe. Not only that, but they seem to study humans and refer to humans with an unwavering willpower and fearlessness as id cosmos. id in the English language means the part of the mind in which innate instinctive impulses and primary processes are manifest. I don't know what that accent was, but that part is obvious because it shows that this cosmos thing is impulsive. But what does the cosmos part mean? Well, so far, I guess we just have to kind of infer it most likely just means personality. That's just my guess, though, at the moment, but I'm sure it probably is going to be explained later as something probably more complicated than that. But G-Man then tells Miss Adachi that to fight people like this and take their power, that they must in nature be ruthless. They cannot be good-hearted in nature like Miss Adachi is, which I actually sort of like this. This confirms that Miss Adachi not only is a good person, but a likely ally of the Dum-Da-Dums. But, this next part, it was a little hard to watch, I'm not gonna lie. The G-Man clone then attacks Miss Adachi ruthlessly, beating her with his briefcase until blood is running from her nose as he bashes her face in as she thinks about her sickly mother, yeesh, yelling at her to accept her defeat and yield. This shows that to get these powers back, they must also get the humans to yield they give the powers to. So with this being the case, it seems that the shady Black Mesa-like people probably do some pretty horrible stuff to get their powers back from humans. But in one of the hypest moments in recent Dandadan, Bega, is here to save Miss Adachi from her demise as she looks up in surprise with crying eyes, a bruised face, and blood pouring from her nostrils. Bega then recognizes the man, and so he uses his powers to control Miss Adachi to create a distraction as he subdues Adachi, and the G-Man is just able to escape because of this. Guys, this was insane. I got so mad after Miss Adachi was used by the G-Man like that. But I also, maybe after this I do kind of ship Bega and Miss Adachi. It's kind of a cute ship, but then again, I may be the problem here because this is like the most generic setup possible to a relationship ever. Man saves woman, woman goes ooga booga and falls in love. Yeah, maybe I'm the problem here. Either way, this was an awesome moment, and I love the way Tatsu frames Bega looking back up and just looking around as there's no trace of the G-Man or his allies around. They're just gone, which is absolutely mental and somewhat hilarious. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I need Bega to just take out his nightstick and commit heinous beatings against the G-Man. Like, I need it, okay? Like, give it to me, Tatsu, please? Wait, that's weird phrasing. Okay, ignore that part. However, guys, I think we are indeed, for the rest of this arc, focusing back on Momo and getting her back to her regular old jumbo size. And the stakes couldn't be any higher because Vamola can't even see Momo anymore, which means that if they aren't quick, Momo could just disappear forever. And will she? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's Momo Ayase. Yeah, sure, she's the main character, but like, is she really? I mean, we then see at the very end Okarun, Sakata, and Aira reunite along with Ren and Koki as they drag Hase by his feet. So I'm guessing, obviously, next week we're going to get a proper explanation and SAO-like just dump of information from Hase just what the heck is going on here. Either way, this was a pretty incredible chapter this week, and I cannot wait for next week because Dandadan is finally getting hot again after this week, and I'm so here for it. But before you go, be sure to join my Discord where we discuss Dandadan, Chainsaw Man, and weekly seasonal anime. I'm also going to be doing early morning and afternoon hangouts on the server this week where we're going to be playing games, watching some anime, movies, and just shooting the shit. Join now, simps!